Hello, this is Victor Santana at StockHunters.com for Thursday, September 29th. Let's take a look and see what has been going on here. What a ride. As you can see, today we've got a down day here on the TMW, which is a combination of all the indices put together, averaged out. And here we are. You can see that we are still under this trend line down here. We broke under here, tried to recover it back up, but couldn't. So we're still under this trend line. Now, one thing that I do want to make a note of is we got this formation where we got a straight up here with a down consolidation here. This could be a potential bullish flag. And if it does, we could still see potentially get up to here to the 50-day moving average here, this green line. So there is a little bit of hope in this, but we'll see if it plays out. However, this trend line is pretty major, and we're just going to be bouncing our head here. So if we could break through, our target will be right here. However, RSI is pointing downward here, which is not good. MACD is also rolling over here, and these histogram bars, the little bars here, it has disappeared. We are, fractionally up. I mean, just 0.0015, which is almost hairline. So let's go ahead and break this down into the individual indices. We're going to start with the Dow. Now here you could see we traded again sideways, kind of a slant angle here. Now the same pattern here. We got the straight up pole with a bullish flag probably forming. If we do break up, we could probably exceed the 50 here. So this is potential here. RSI is continuing up. We could, if it does break above, we can see the RSI getting up to this level here potentially. MAC still going up. However, the momentum, which is the histogram bars, is now virtually nil. Again, this is just slightly 0.09. Looking at the S&P, we're still under the major line here. Same formation. We got that straight up 3-day surge, and now we're pulling down sideways here. We can potentially maybe gap up and go all the way up to the 50-day moving average, which is still within this wedge here. So we'll just have to wait and see. RSI is pretty much in the center here, so it's neutralized here. So we'll have to see how this plays out. MACD is under the zero line, the center line here, and the histograms also virtually disappeared. Another thing I'm seeing here is we could see also a pennant type formation building up here. Let me just draw that in here real quick. You could see this pennant possibly maybe starting right here in this area with this flag pole type going up here. So we'll see how this plays out. It could either break down or break up to the upside. The way this is going, either if we could probably see this move tomorrow on this. So we'll have to watch and see what the market tells us. The NASDAQ here, you could see we're still under the major trend line. We do have a small up move with consolidating, but this is kind of a bigger, wider, how can I say, candlesticks here. So this may not be playing out like the others here. And you could see it is knocking right below under this major trend line here. We could still potentially see down here. Look at the RSI, you could see it is curving downward. We could go down in this area. MACD is going down. So now the NASDAQ's showing weakness while the other markets are showing some potential. So we'll have to wait and see. Now looking at the Russell's 2000, the small caps, This one pretty weak here. It's kind of trading sideways here in this range. Uh, Not too much of a good formation like the other, so this is kind of weakish too. This is almost in the center line of 46, so it's pretty much kind of neutralized. MACD is under the zero, which is kind of on the bearish mode, and the histogram is virtually nil here. So a lot could happen the next couple of days. And then finally, let's look at the global markets overall. Global, we still have. It seems like we have the possibility trading in this lower downward channel. We've hit the top of this channel and closed up in this area. RSI is continuing to go up. MACD is continuing up, and the histogram bars are still showing here. So this can possibly pop up a little higher, but we'll have to see, or it can all go down as well. So this is getting very close to the top. So overall, keep in mind, let's go back. We're still in the bearish mode because we're still under the 100-day moving line, and all the trend lines are lined up on the downside. The 100, 50, 18 is all pointing downward, as you could see here on the S&P. They're all pointing in that bearish manner. Same thing with the Nasdaq. Nasdaq is trying to cross over here, so it's trying, but we'll see what happens. Russell 2000, see, is downward. Globals is pointing downward, and the Dow is also pointing downward. Okay, so that is the trend of the market for now. Now let's go ahead and look at some of our plays that we have. A new play, that new pick is EPB. We have a buy recommendation 35.65, and if triggered in, we put our stops at 34.72, a 2.6% risk, which is a small risk here. And this is an El Paso pipeline company. So we'll see what happens here. We like this because it just had the setup. It reached under the 30 line here, and now it's starting to go up, while the MACD is now rolling up and starting to show a little bit of positiveness here. We don't have the histogram bar here, but it's slightly positive, so this might have a potential here. So if crude oil does get a pop tomorrow, this will definitely probably go with it as well. So we'll watch that. Let's look at some of the other trades that we have. We have AKRX. We recommended this one yesterday, and it has not triggered us in. You can see it is in between here. So it's Harami. So we'll just have to wait and see. Depending how the markets react tomorrow, it could either continue up and possibly trigger us in, or break down. But we still have the setup, and the trigger is not completely set up, or the trigger's not there as of yet. So this entry at $8.50 would be a still good idea to leave right there. So we'll keep that in place. Consolidated Edison, ED, this one here, we did get triggered in today, and so we're up on it. RSI continuing goes up, MAC going up with a trigger signal here, so this is good. So we're going to keep an eye on that one. If we get one more pretty good strong day, it's good to consider getting out. Potential's all the way up to here, but we'll just have to wait and see. Next one, FCX, Freeport McMoran. This one here, see, now we're getting close to our possible trigger here at 28.80. So we'll see if we could buy it down here and get a bounce out of this here. This is kind of a deep in the money play, you might say. So these don't really count as much. So We'll just go by this level here. Another one here is OPTR. Recommend it up in this area. Trade it. So we got another Harami, and we'll just wait and see how this plays out. We did get the setup. RSI is heading up. MACD has not crossed over quite yet, and we don't have the histogram bars in the green yet. So this is kind of also an anticipation of a bounce. Look at SDS. SDS here, we got in right at this area here. We bought it at the end of the day. Got a good pop the next day, yesterday. Today kind of pulled back a little bit. So we're still in play with this one here. And RSI is neutral. MACD is on the other side, on the upper side of the zero line, which has a bullish tendency. SDS is the inverse of the S&P 500, so it's basically shorting it 2 times. And this one here is a 3 times of the S&P shorting. Pretty much the same story. We got in at this here. We got the pop identical. It's just the leverage 3 times. We got the neutral and slightly on the bearish, or excuse me, on the bullish sentiment. And then finally, TZA, the triple inverse of the small caps. And here we added 2 positions already. And we got bounce yesterday, and today we headed higher, but then it just closed a little lower. RSI is kind of neutral right in the center. MACD is kind of pointing downward, and the histograms are now on zero line practically. So we'll just have to wait and see if we get that pop, that breakdown. Now looking at this here, you got the flag pattern going up and going down sideways here, or you could also say it's a triangle formation here. So we should be getting a confirmation downside or upside any day now. Alright, that's pretty much for now. Until next time, keep your eyes on the markets, and remember, put your stops in and let the emotions stay out. Till next time.